We need financial freedom. It's time for us to get out of debt. And I have some steps to help you become debt free if you're willing to take the chance. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever part of this vast world you find yourself in. This is Damon from Life Inspirations, and here today I'm going to talk to you about financial goals, financial health. And there's no secret, when you look at America is in debt to trillions of dollars, which trickles down to our states being in debt, which trickles down to our families and individuals being in debt. We are a nation ridden with debt, and debt has become acceptable. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to have a life of debt if you really work hard to achieve financial freedom. So let's talk about some financial goals. Ask yourself this question: how much money do I need to live? How much money do I need to live? You need to set a goal to get yourself out of debt, because most people's frustrations center around money. Most marriages fail because of money. And you can be debt free if you put your priorities in perspective. And when you make your financial plans, make a list in this order: needs, wants, and your desires. Again, let me say that: needs, wants, and your desires. So what are needs? Needs are food, clothing, housing, car insurance, your necessities, things you need to live this life. In America, you need certain things. In this world, you need certain things to survive. Again, like food, clothing, house, cars, car insurance, health insurance, etc. Then let's look at wants. Choice of quality of goods or services. The house you choose to live in. Can you afford the house on one income, or do you need two incomes to afford the house? The apartment, how much is the rent? The car you want to drive. Do I drive the Toyota Corolla, or do you go get the Porsche 911 Turbo or the Lexus? You have a desire to want certain things. And lastly, again, desires. Things you can purchase out of your surplus. If you have a surplus at the end of the month, all your bills, all your needs are met, and you have a surplus, then you can make decisions on how you want to spend the extra money, whether you decide to save an investment or buy a better car or buy a better house. So how do we have financial freedom? How do we get out of debt is the answer, or the question. Debt means payments past due for money, goods, or services when total value of your liabilities exceeds your assets. You owe more than you own, when anxiety is produced because you have financial responsibilities. So here's some steps to get out of debt. Step 1, do not borrow. You cannot add to a mountain and haul it away at the same time. Do your best not to borrow. If anything, most of us have to borrow money for a car or a house, because those are big ticket items, and most of us don't have money in the bank to purchase a house outright or purchase a car outright. But when you start borrowing for other things, like for your needs, or not for your needs, for your desires or your wants, then you put yourself in a problem. Step 2, stop all spending other than living expenses. Just spend money you need. This does not mean getting extra income. It means living on 70 to 80% of your income. Ask yourself a question. It never ceases to amaze me. People say, if I had more money, I would be out of debt. And I've seen people who have gotten raises on jobs, who hit the lottery and so forth, and they find themselves in worse off predicament than they were before, because people tend to want to live to what they make. My dad always taught me, try to live well below your money, your means. I asked my daughter the other question: if you made $100 a month, how much would you spend? I asked her that same question about 5 years ago, and she said, if I made 100, I'll spend 100. And that's what most Americans think. But as she's been around me and I've been putting gems of wisdom in her, I asked her the question yesterday after school. I said, how much would you spend? How much would you need to live off if you had $100? How much would you live off? She said, about 50. I said, it's setting in. The seed I planted years ago was starting to produce. She said she would live off 50. I said, well, baby, you can probably go to 60 or 70, no more than 80, but always have a nest egg put aside just in the event of an emergency. Step 3, think before buying. Is it a necessity? What is my motivation for buying it? Do I really need it at this time? Is it to impress someone else, or will I ever use it that much? I heard a quote the other day. Many of us buy things we can't afford that we don't need to impress people that we don't like, or they don't like us. Think about that. We buy things we can't afford that we don't need to impress people that we don't like or don't like us. That should make you think about when you're buying. What's the motivation behind your spending? Wealth can bring financial bondage. Bondage is trying to amass and accumulate wealth. Money is not working for you. In essence, you are working for money. We all need to get to a point where your money is working for you. Right now, most of us, 95% of Americans or higher, go to a job or work an occupation to pay us. So we're working for money. But God wants to put us in a place where work is good, don't get me wrong. But we should get to a place, especially as we get older, that our money begins to work for us. Number 4, discontinued credit buying. Get rid of your credit cards. I always say keep one credit card for an emergency. If you do not borrow, you cannot go into debt. Wants and desires should not be put on credit cards. Wants and desires should not be put on credit cards. And hypothetically, if you want to buy something on the credit card and you say, okay, I want this, but I don't have the money. Think about it before you do it. But if you do it, purpose to pay it off within a month, no more than 3 months. Sometimes I'll put stuff on credit cards because they have 0% financing. And I don't want to take the money out of my bank. So I'd rather use the credit card people's money as opposed to taking money out of my savings or investment account. But I purpose to pay it off within 1 to 3 months. 1 Timothy 6:8 says like this, and having food and clothing, with these shall we can be content. Having food and clothing, with these we shall be content. Learn to live in your provision. As Christians, we should be contented people. People should desire to be who we are. And when you learn to be content with the house you have, with the car you have, with the area you live in, and you find contentment and peace, there's nothing better than that. It's when we trying to keep up with the Joneses, or we see our neighbor buy a new car, so we need a new car. We see a family friend get a bigger house, so we need a bigger house. And all that is wealth. And at the end of the day, everything we own and buy is either going to go to the trash, donate to Goodwill, or we're going to sell it off. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing. Everything we own either go to the trash, to the Goodwill, or we're going to donate it, or we're going to sell it off. So again, Proverbs 10:22 says this, the blessings of the Lord makes one rich, and he will add no sorrow with it. Financial freedom is the absence of bondage, not an abundance of money. Financial freedom is being able to accept God's direction without hindrance. And financial freedom is peace of mind and contentment. Set a goal, work toward it, get out of debt. Purpose in your heart to get out of debt and get to the point where your money is working for you and you're not working hard for the money. Learn to be content. And I promise you, when you learn to be content and satisfied with what you have, life begins to be really enjoyable. So this is Damon from Life Inspirations. I hope this message finds you blessed. If you like this message, like, share, and subscribe, and share it with a friend and neighbor. We need financial freedom. Until next time, God bless.